She never said she loved me. Not once. Not in words. But sometimes, silence carries more truth than all the words we ever speak. We met when we were 18, that strange age where you think you've got life figured out. But in reality, you're just beginning to live. Her name was Alara. She wasn't the loudest person in the room. In fact, she rarely spoke at all. But when she did, it felt like every word had weight. She didn't need attention to be noticed. She had this presence. The kind that made even silence feel like a conversation. I was her opposite, loud, restless, always chasing the next thing. She once told me, "You'll miss the beauty in life if you keep running." I laughed. But years later, I'd realize, she was right. We became friends quickly. Study sessions, late-night coffee runs, shared playlists. It was easy. Effortless. But what I didn't know then was that she was falling in love, quietly, patiently, without ever expecting anything back. Looking back, the signs were everywhere. The way she'd listen when I talked about other girls. The way she'd hide her eyes when I joked about us. The way she never left, even when she should have. There were times I'd catch her staring at me. Not in a way that asked for attention. But in a way that said, "You're home." And yet, I was blind to it all. We grew up. University turned into jobs, dreams turned into routines. We saw each other less often, but somehow, we always found our way back. Sometimes we'd meet for coffee, and she'd ask, "How's life treating you?" And I'd complain, about work, money, people, everything. She'd just smile. That same quiet smile that never judged me, never rushed me. I used to think she had no struggles. But one day, I realized, she was simply strong enough not to show them. There was one night I'll never forget. We were sitting by the lake, watching the city lights ripple on the water. It was one of those moments where the world feels perfectly still. I looked at her and said, "You ever regret not telling people how you feel?" She paused. Then whispered, "Some feelings aren't meant to be spoken. They're meant to be lived." I didn't understand it then. But that was her confession. Quiet, disguised, hidden between her words. After that night, we drifted apart. Not because something happened. But because nothing did. Life got busy. I got a new job in another city. She stayed behind. Our texts got shorter, our calls less frequent. But every once in a while, she'd message me. "Proud of you." That's all. No paragraphs. Just 3 words, enough to remind me she was still there. I never replied the way I should have. And I never asked her how she was doing. Because part of me thought she'd always be around. 10 years later. I was scrolling through my messages when I saw her name again. It wasn't her message this time, it was a wedding invitation. She was getting married. I don't know what I felt. Sadness? Regret? Peace? Maybe a mix of all 3. I went to the wedding. She looked radiant. Like peace wearing a white dress. She didn't see me at first. But when our eyes met, she smiled. Not the smile of love. But the smile of someone who had finally let go. And in that moment, I realized. She had loved me quietly for 10 years. And I had spent those same years searching for something that had always been right beside me. Later that night, after the ceremony, she came up to me. We talked, about life, about time, about everything and nothing. She said, "Do you ever think about the past?" I replied, "Sometimes. But not enough to change it." She smiled. "That's good. The past isn't meant to be changed. Only understood. Then she hugged me. It wasn't long. But it felt like the world paused for that one heartbeat. And then, she was gone. Driving home that night. The city lights blurred through the raindrops on my windshield. And for the first time, I understood her kind of love. It wasn't about possession. It wasn't about us. It was about presence. About being there quietly, when it mattered most. She had loved me in silence. While I was too busy searching for noise. That night taught me something. Love doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it's a soft background melody that plays while you chase other songs. You don't notice it until it stops. And suddenly, the silence feels louder than ever. I think we all have someone like that. A person who loved us quietly. Who gave without asking. Who stayed until they learned to let go. Years have passed since that night. I've changed. Learned to slow down. To listen. To notice. Every now and then, I visit the same lake where we used to sit. I play the same playlist we made when we were 18. And sometimes, when the wind is quiet, I swear I can hear her voice. Soft, distant, but full of peace. And I whisper. I understand now. Because I finally do. She loved me in silence for 10 years. And now, I love her in peace. Some loves don't fade, they simply grow quiet. And live forever in the spaces between our words.